You will learn how much money you can make as a junior doctor working in a hospital in Australia.
Raise your hands.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another vlog. Today is going to be a really important vlog where I'll tell you how much money you can make as a doctor in Australia, and I'll shed light on how to make money as a junior doctor in Australia. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Nash Sumro. I'm one of the junior doctors working in Australia. I came here as an IMG. It took me several years to get into the system. So some of you may have seen my other videos about that and know the journey I've taken. However, those of you don't know, please watch and subscribe to my channel and see what the process is like to coming to Australia. The interesting thing about me is that I restarted medicine after 7 years of gap. So I didn't work for 7 years. I was studying in Australia, working, doing other jobs. And I show you how I actually got into the system. So that was more of an intro for you guys. But what I'm going to do today is break it down on how much money junior doctors make in Australia for somebody who's coming in and starting to work in a hospital job. That is what I will be focusing on today. And most of the junior doctors coming to Australia will be doing that sort of a job. The process of this video will be first looking at jobs for junior doctors and their rates in different states, and I'll break it down one by one for you. Then what I'm going to talk about is some of the interesting facts and figures that you don't know about jobs in Australia. For example, there are benefits to the base salary rates you'll get, and I'll talk about them as well. The third thing I'm going to do, and that's going to be interesting, is I'm going to show you my salary slips and show you exactly how much I earn every month and how things work over here. So let's first start off with salaries and how much salaries are there for different states in Australia. So here's a chart for you where you can see how much annual income everybody makes when you're working as a junior doctor. So now when I say working as a junior doctor, this is someone who's coming in and doing their second year out of medicine. So the first year is generally called the house job or the intern year. So you've done that in your country. Now you're coming to Australia taking the most junior job, which is called either a JMO or a RMO job, junior medical officer or a resident medical officer job. And it's classified as year 2 or PGY2 in Australia. So all these rates are for those jobs. As you progress to year 3 and year 4, your salaries will increase roughly by about $8,000 to $10,000 a year. All these rates are based on amount of money that you will be making per year. So you can see over here in this chart, the highest salaries paid in Australia are in Western Australia. So a Western Australian doctor would make about $90,000 a year. These are also based on figures from 2020. So the rates in 2021 may change and maybe more. Generally, there is a bit 2 to 3% change every year. So the highest salary you will get per year is in Western Australia. So that'll equate to about a salary of, say, $7,500 a month. However, it's interesting, in Australia, you are actually paid fortnightly. So every 2 weeks you are paid a salary rather than every month as we are used to in most of the other countries. So fortnightly salary would almost equate to, say, about $3,500 per fortnight. It's interesting that it's paid in fortnights because you get 2 salaries a month normally, but because there are 52 weeks in a year, you actually get about 13 salaries in that. So if you take 2 salaries per month and multiply it by 12, that's 48 salaries. But in reality, you get 52 salaries because there are 52 weeks in the year. So let me just break it down again for you. So there are 52 weeks in a year. So you get 26 salaries. However, if you looked at it monthly and break it down into months, like 2 salaries a month, that'll be 24 salaries, but you end up getting 26 salaries. So you get another additional month of pay. And generally, all the junior doctors get 5 weeks of annual leave rather than four, which is also very interesting and good. So, moving ahead, let's have a focus again on this chart that I'm showing you. So, the highest salaries are paid in Western Australia, followed by Northern Territory, Queensland, and New South Wales. And the lowest salaries are paid in Tasmania. However, it's very difficult to get a job in Northern Territory, so I would not recommend you going over there for your first job because there are only few hospitals and they require generally experience. Western Australia, Queensland, and Victoria, and to some extent New South Wales are the states where you are more likely to get your first job. So this is about state-wise and how that's broken down. However, these are only base salaries for PGY2, as I told you. But if you are someone who is doing those base rates, you're actually likely to earn about 20 to 30%, in some cases 40% more than your base salary. And I'll explain you the reasons why. There are two main ways in on how you supplement your income. So for every year you work in Australia as a doctor, you get $18,000 worth of tax-free money. So you're not paying any tax at all. Now, normally your tax rates, just for simplification purposes, are about 33%. They may be up and down based on your income, but on average, if you're making anything over $70,000, you're paying about 33% of taxes. I'm just oversimplifying things for you. So, say if you're making $100,000 a year, you will pay $33,000 worth of tax every year. So your take home salary would be about $66,000. Similarly, for $90,000, your take home salary, give and take, would be about $60,000 a year. However, because you're getting $18,000 of tax exemptions, you are more likely to get more money in your pocket than because you're not paying taxes of about $6,000, say. So that's one way of supplementing the income. The other way of supplementing the income is all the doctors that work on weekends and after hours are paid a much more higher rate. So if your base rate is about $40 an hour, or you make say $300 a day, but if you work on a Sunday, you're paid 1.75 that rate, which basically means that on a Sunday, normally if you're making $300 an hour, $300 a day, then on Sunday you will make about $500 or $550 a day. So a lot of the doctors who work on weekend shifts and night shifts end up making a lot more money, and that varies from state to state. But the state that pays you the best is Western Australia. Henceforth, I'm currently working in Western Australia. So those are important, and that's how you can supplement your salary and increase it by another, as I said, 20 to 30%, depends on how much extra work and how much weekend work you do. I don't do a lot of weekend or night shift work, so because for me life quality and importance and having a balance is important. But a lot of doctors I know do a lot of weekend work, overtimes, and when you're doing overtime, it's twice the rate, so you get double the income as well. Well, I don't do any of them. So as I said, you can make significant amount of money by doing those sort of things. All right, so let's move on to the interesting gig, which is going to be the rates that I make as a junior doctor and how much I earn. So let me just pull that up for you. So here you can see my salary slip from last year when I was working in Victoria. So have a look at that. Normally, as I said, you're paid fortnightly, which means for every 14 days you're given a salary. In Victoria, the base hours for working fortnightly are 76 hours. So that means you work 38 hours a week. And my base rate in Victoria, which was a PGY2 level job, was $40 an hour. So you can see I made $3,043 working 76 hours. However, I did some extra out of hour shifts, which means out of hour shift means outside of 8 a.m. in the morning to 6 p.m. in the evening. Anything outside of that is considered as out of hours, late shifts. And I also did some night shifts during that fortnight, so I got 25% penalty on top. So you can see, because I did 7 days of night shifts, I worked 46 hours in those shifts, and I got $463 extra, $465 extra. And then I also got a penalty of 50% because I was working late hours and I did some extra hours as well. So I made another $438 on top of that. So in total, my pre-tax salary was $4,230. However, I paid about 33% tax on it. So I made $3,006.76 in that fortnight. So if you consider that I've worked in another week, another fortnight like that, so I would have made about $6,000. However, in the next fortnight, I made a little bit less because I did not do any night shifts. So on average, as you can see, you can make about 2000 between $2,500 to $3,000 a fortnight working in a PGY2 job. That's in Victoria. Okay, so that was last year. Now this year I did another job, and this year I've been working in Western Australia, and Western Australia basically, as I said, pays the highest rates in all of Australia, and henceforth my salary went up significantly, and I will show you in this screenshot that you can see. So in Western Australia, your base salaries are higher anyway because you're working more hours in a week. So in Western Australia, you're working 80 hours a fortnight. That means 40 hours a week minimum. So my base rate has increased from $40 to $45. So you can see my base salary in Western Australia is $3,640 compared to my $3,000 of base in Victoria. So 3,640. However, I did 8.8 hours of overtime, which gave me another $600 supplemental income. And then I had some penalty rates because I worked a late shift and stuff. So in total, I made about $4,500 in that fortnight. However, I got some tax exemptions, which means that I had a salary deduction of $2,000, which will be tax free for me. And then I made $2,430. Because those $2,000 of salary deductions, I'm doing a course called WBA program, so I paid towards that. So that's, if I didn't pay it, I would have got that money, but basically I paid for it, so I didn't get that money. So eventually I got $2,430. If I didn't pay that money, and after all those taxes, I would have made about $3,300 or $3,400 in that fortnight. So roughly you're making about $6,000 to about $7,000 in a month working in Western Australia. That is if you're including some overtime and some late shifts. Otherwise, your base salary would be on average about $6,200, $6,300 a month after the raise. Now, if you liked the video so far, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. That allows me to create more content for you. But if you have any other questions, make sure you flick that through to me. I get dozens of emails and messages. Sometimes I'm late in responding because I've got shifts and stuff, as you know, busy schedule, but happy to try to make sure I respond back to every single comment. If you are requiring mentoring on getting into the system, you're finding it difficult, or you're already in the system and you want to get into some sort of other position where you get better hours and better rates, or want to move from one hospital to another, I do also run a mentoring service. I'll put the link down in the description, so feel free to hit me up, ask me questions. I'm always happy to respond and help you out. So thank you very much for that, and ciao.